Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everybody. Thanks for joining in again today on this beautiful Sunday morning. And welcome back to Car News is Our News. Today's episode, we are going to dive into the latest recall by Lexus, and we're going to talk about a new supercar, an LC version with twin turbos, and I will give you the details on that. We're also going to talk about Lexus's ranking in the top sales in North America, and we're going to give you an example of a really scary and dangerous driving incident that recently happened with a Lexus driver. Stick around, you're going to love it. Let's get into it now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Play Place. Story about Lexus and Lexus recalls. Now, specifically, I have to ask the question, could this be the very end for Lexus Reliability as we know it today? We know for a fact that they have been notoriously reliable. They've had a reputation for high levels of quality control and reliability, and Lexus Toyota brand have been second to really none in terms of consumers reports and JD Power's ratings for reliability. However, we do have something very hot off the press. So word has it approximately 44,000 vehicles of 2019 and 2020 model years by Toyota and Lexus have a serious concern and a flaw in the engine that can lead to stalling, leaks, or just outright fire where the car can burn to the ground. And this essentially affects Lexus ES300h vehicles and a bunch of Toyotas from the Camry Hybrid, the Avalon Hybrid, the RAV4, and the RAV4 Hybrid. So if you have any 2019 or 20 model years, you may have to check with your local dealer. So what it really is a flaw within the block where it can leak antifreeze or oil, weep it out of the side of the block, which then of course can contribute to either leaking, stalling, failure, or catastrophic failure as such as a fire. So first signs, if you're an owner and you notice chimes on the dashboard, you hear grinding strange noises, smoke, or fire of course, stop the vehicle immediately. That could be your problem. So apparently Toyota claims that there's only about 250 vehicles in that range that will need outright engine replacements. The rest of the 44,000 and change will likely need some sort of an inspection or a patch to make the repairs. So what contributed to this? Well, there was a water flow meter as part of the process when they're pouring and developing the cast for the engines. That water flow meter failed, resulting in poor cooling of the engine after it was poured. The cooling didn't develop properly, and as a result, cracks developed. So as it stands, many of these vehicles are in the hands of customers right now and need to hit the dealers, and the rest of them that are currently still sitting on the car lots need to be addressed and cannot be sold by the dealer. So if you haven't yet purchased one, the dealer cannot sell you that car until it's been verified and fixed as needed. So the recall is actually officially hitting the ground running on April 6, 2020. And for more details, if you want to find out more about it yourself, don't forget the NHTSA website that will tell you everything you need to know on your car. So the next great story has to do with a high performance variation of a current existing Lexus model. Now Lexus has always been known for dependability, reliability, and of course comfortable cars that are nice to drive. However, they've always sort of stayed away from the edgy vehicles because their customers haven't typically looked for that. However, many consumers are looking for another alternative, and Lexus is stepping up to the plate to offer a high-performance version of the current LC500. Now, Lexus typically hasn't had high-performance aggressive cars other than the LFA and the ISF, which was sort of borderline. They generally stick to the mainstream cars that are easy to live with, but the new LC500 is currently being tested on racetracks. Current V8 is 5 liters in displacement, and we would expect the new car to have a 4.0 liter expected to have over 600 horsepower. You see 0 to 60 times in well under 3.5 seconds. What's really exciting is Lexus is taking the racing version of this car to the Nürburgring for the 24-hour race down in May of 2020. So stick around, you're going to want to find out, see how successful this car can really be on the track. So the next great story is some great news by Lexus, and they are seeing some serious worldwide successes as they are hitting the #1 rank for top sales worldwide. But in the American market, I can honestly tell you currently BMW leads the race, then followed by Mercedes, and thirdly, the Lexus brand. So the way it stands, BMW owns the crown in the United States at 324,000 sales in 2019. It's up by about 4.5% from the previous year in 2018, largely because of the X3, X5, and X7 updates. And the 3 Series has come out with some strong sales as well. So as a result, BMW has seen some major successes in the United States. Now Mercedes, who came in second in 2019, sales remained relatively flat from 2018, and they held at about 316,000 units sold in the United States for 2019. And now again as well, another common theme that we found with BMW is many of the cars started to lose ground and sales slumped. It's the SUVs and crossovers that brought sales up, and that's ultimately what equalized everything for Mercedes and BMW. Now, Lexus came in at a highly successful 298,000 units sold in the United States for 2019. Again, they saw similar things that were happening with Mercedes and BMW, and many of their cars slumped. They actually lost sales. For example, the IS and the GS models both dropped about 35 and 48% respectively. The ES, on the other hand, climbed up marginally by about 6% from the year before, and it's ultimately the SUVs and crossovers, as well as some of the hybrids, that really found success for Lexus. Specifically the UX, which came out late in 2018. It jumped up in 2019 by 3,600% over the end of 2018 when it came out, and as a result, that is where they found significant successes. And just missing the podium in fourth place is Audi at about 224,000 sales in the United States for 2019. And the next great story goes about reliability and the rankings by JD Powers, as well as Consumers Reports, of the Lexus brand. We all know that Lexus and Toyota have owned that crown for many, many years. Guess what? 2019 is a new leaf. They, in fact, are no longer the kings, and they've been bumped by another brand. Would you ever believe we'd be talking about a Korean car beating out the top Japanese cars for dependability, reliability? Well, this in fact has happened by the new emerging luxury brand called Genesis. Now, interestingly enough, the Genesis is top spot, which essentially is their flagship luxury car, which is direct competitor to Lexus. Strangely, the Kia and Hyundai, which is their more base model versions, surprisingly down at 13th and 14th spot on the list of average reliability. So how this is all ranked is every 100 vehicles, how many vehicles or problems are seen that need dealer attention. So let's talk about and review some of the key ones. Of course, Genesis being at 89 problems per 100 vehicles. The bottom spots, of course, being Chrysler and Land Rover at a rating of 214 and 220 problems per 100 vehicles, respectively. Absolutely horrendous ownership experiences with those vehicles. Now, as a single vehicle rating, not necessarily as brand related, the Toyota Camry has a stellar rating of 53 problems per 100 vehicles. Let's look down the list real quickly and show you how these vehicles all rank up by brand. So firstly, we have Genesis at 89, Lexus at 100 problems per 100, Buick at a 103, Porsche at 104, Toyota 113, Volkswagen 116, and BMW at 123, Audi at 136, Mercedes-Benz at a sickly 152, Infiniti at 155, and Jaguar 186, followed by Chrysler and Land Rover at 214 and 220 respectively. So lastly, we're going to share with you a story that was filmed by a Tesla that has all these cameras mounted to the bodywork, was able to capture a bad and a really scary moment on the highways where a Lexus aggressively brake checked a Subaru, which resulted in the Subaru hitting the ditch. Let's take a look at this right now. Let that be a lesson, everybody. At the end of the day, don't engage road rage. It's a bad situation. Nothing good can ever come of it. And as a result, if you see somebody on your tail, maybe just give them the right of way. Let them go. They're obviously in a rush. There could be any number of reasons why they're driving aggressively. Just get out of the way and everybody will have a much better day as a result. Thanks again, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please click on the link over there. There's a great comparison between BMW and Lexus Reliability. And at the very least, don't forget to hit that subscribe button over here and hit the notifications bell. It's going to let you know when the next great video is out. Can't wait to see you guys real soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.